How's it going, everyone? Jiivita here with an overview for release 211, also known as the Empire's Update. This adds some really nice things, including guilds, improved chat, guild buffs, improved beacon controls, tweaks to footfall, as well as new blocks. I mean, there's a little bit of something for everyone here, just about. So without further ado, let's get started. So right here, right off the bat, we have the guild control. This is crafted simply from some stones, any base metals like copper and iron, tech remnants, and tech components. But once you place this down, you can interact with it. You can see that there are a number of options. So first off, we can create a new guild, or we could come down here and for any of these guilds or factions, we can align this guild control to one that we are already a part of. So this arrow right here, or chevron, that is a guild. The little kind of connected tree type things, kind of like a skill tree, are the actual factions. And of course you can see the word faction down in the description of it as well. So once you have your guild set up, other players can come and interact with your guild control and request to join. You can either set it up for them to be able to auto join or come over to members and accept them manually. But right off the bat, you can see that there's 4 different tabs for the guild control. Right here we can see some general information, including a way to change the name as well as enabling auto join. There is a section for guild resources as well as guild buffs, and down below where you can see your personal membership, including how many coins you've donated and your various permissions in the guild. So the first section of guild permissions have to do with guild controlled beacons and what you can and cannot do in them. The next section has to do with controlling various guild aspects such as coin, buffs, and membership control. And then finally there's the executive ranks, which is basically contains the second in rank, and then the guild director or leader. There can be more than one director. However, once this permission is awarded, it cannot be undone by anybody but the director themselves. So be careful who you award that to. And jumping over to factions, these are essentially guilds inside of guilds. They are particularly handy for organizing players and allowing only certain groups of players access to certain areas. So a particularly powerful feature indeed. So beyond the added benefits of being able to easily organize players, one of the major advantages to joining a guild are the new guild machines or the guild buffs. So right off the bat, off to the left here, we have a inactive guild buff machine, and then off to the right, a active guild machine. Each guild buff comes in 3 different strengths, with the price reflecting the strength of the buff. However, all guild buffs do have a uniform duration of 1 week. Also, in following updates, the devs plan to add many more guild buffs, but they want to be cautious on how they balance it. So this update comes with 4 guild buffs, which includes the defeat insurance, which reduces the death penalty, the grapple and run buff that increases not only run speed, but the range of all your grapples, a builder's buff which increases block placement speed as well as chisel durability, and then finally a lava protection buff which reduces damage from lava. It's important to note that you only get the guild buffs from your primary guild, and only if that guild was your primary guild when the buff was actually activated. So in other words, you can't switch between several different guilds just to switch your buffs. You have to wait until those buffs are reactivated to reacquire them. Along with the guild system, there has also been a number of improvements to the beacon system as well as settlement. So let's dive right in here. So first off, you might notice that there is now a guild alignment option right here. So the first step is we can align this beacon to a guild, which counts this beacon towards the prestige of the guild. And the guild settlement if there's more than one guild aligned beacon in the area. This has kind of the 2 effects of, one, aligning it to the guild, allowing you to place guild machines and activate buffs, but this also makes this beacon a guild settlement, which can be used to protect your identity against somebody coming along and basically out prestiging you and taking over your settlement and changing the name of what you perceive to be your personal settlement. Once you align your beacon with the guild, there's an additional option to allow the guild to actually control the beacon. This essentially turns it over to the guild as community property, and the permissions for the beacon is set through the guild permissions instead of through the beacon itself. The owner of the beacon does maintain complete ownership and control over their plots, their beacon, and everything, and can at any time unalign it if they so choose. So a few notes on guild settlements. As you can see down here under settlement details, there is now the guild settlement, but as you can see, it's located in the greater settlement that is around it. So this guild settlement still counts towards the greater settlement that it resides in. However, it still maintains its own identity. As you can see, I'm inside Jiivitaville instead of Greater Jiivitaville. Moving on to the other beacon improvements, we now have a whole tab just for options. Many of these are familiar, but there's a new option to delete the beacon, so anything left behind will be vulnerable to either other players taking it or world regeneration. So you want to make sure you have everything of value out of your beacon before doing this. However, this is a huge quality of life for being able to quickly remove a beacon once you're done with it. The other cool option is now you can change the plot color simply by clicking the arrows. So if you need a different color to distinguish your plots from, say, somebody else's plots, or you just want it to be either more subtle or a more apparent color, you can now very easily cycle through the colors and find one you like. There's also been a handy new beacon and settlement visualization window added to the debugging menu for PC users. Unfortunately, PS4 users, apparently Sony limits or prohibits the developers from adding debugging menus to the PS4 version, so this might potentially make it into the official UI if it proves to be helpful enough. So taking a look at this, the overly wide area, that's the current beacon we're in. Green is all the other beacons, and this red actually means that these plots are considered as roads and will not connect two or more settlements together. And naturally, with all of the new guild stuff, better communication between players is vital. So now the chat system has a bit of an overhaul. You can come here, we now have notifications for missed messages. You can click on channels, and now we can switch to different channels. There's an all that has naturally everything. There's also world, which is all of the instant chat channels we're already used to, as well as a boundless, which is kind of like a system notification type channel, private message channels, and then guild channels. So as you can see here, I have 3 blue notifications, which corresponds to the guild, has a 3 right there. Pop this out, and this name's a bit too long, but you can see at the very end here there's a 3. So here's 3 messages I've missed as far as the guild channel. And the cool thing about this is, as you can see, they're time stamped, but you can see the last 30 days of chat even between play sessions. Same thing for private messaging, so now you can go to any of these, look at it, and see the last 30 days of conversation with that particular player. So very nice. A couple of things to note about the channels with timestamps and a saved history is that while they are cross-server, they aren't exactly instant. So if you're focused on a particular channel, it'll update that channel every 5 seconds. However, if you're on something like the all channel, then it will round robin update the most out-of-date channels in the background. If guild and settlement details aren't exactly your thing and you just want to build, well, you're in luck. We now have 4 new beautiful blocks to work with. We have decorative wicker, marble, decorative gravel, as well as mosaic over here. These are new high-end building materials. Each one is worth 50 prestige, and the changing chisel does not work on them. The color of these, of course, are determined by the materials used. But let's run over here and check out a building that I made out of exclusively of these new blocks. It's not exactly something I recommend doing, but it was interesting to kind of try it out. So I used marble and mosaic for the floor, marble primarily for the outside, decorative wicker for the chiseled design on the walls, and refined decorative gravel for the walls and the crystal in the middle. So I think that covers most of the major new features. Of course, there's been a whole slew of refinements, bug fixes, and all sorts of other little additions. Some of the more notable ones is that projectiles are now much more useful underwater, so sling bows and grapples are actually useful underwater now. Also, there's some new sound effects for doors, so So as you can hear, the doors now not only have sound effects, but they are appropriate for the material they're made out of, and also locks now have a new sound effect when placing them. But anyway, I think that covers everything pretty well. This was Jiivita. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. Also, if you like my channel, want to get cool perks, check out my Patreon page. Until next time, peace.